Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my LinkedIn Lives. I'm Jasmine, certified wellbeing expert, and I work with educational institutions and companies, helping them support their family wellbeing. And as you know, every week I interview different experts who make a difference in people's lives. Today, I'm super excited to be finally interviewing Clayton. Clayton, so glad to have you here. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and what you do?
Yes, I will. Thanks, Jasmine. Thanks for having me. I think we started talking about this October last year. So it's been a
Was
while.
it?
We're just super busy, aren't we? I mean, that's why it
Yeah.
takes so long. No, but thank you very much. My name's Clayton. I'm from the Growth Crew. We're a leadership consultancy, and basically we help leaders make the most of the opportunity when they're leaders. You know, leaders have the ability to inspire other people to do great things, and that's what we're about. We help leaders understand how powerful
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing. And you chose this title today, Helping Leaders Realize Opportunity. Yeah. And can you tell us a bit more about that and what inspired you to choose that topic today?
Yes, of course. Well, so many leaders. We deal with so many different things on a daily basis. We've got so many spinning plates. And what I found with the leaders I work with, very often they're looking for that silver bullet, that one magical process that's going to make everything fancy and perfect, and their name is going to be up in lights, and it's their legacy and all that kind of stuff. When
Yeah.
the
Oh,
biggest,
God.
the biggest, most positive impact you can actually have as a leader is right with your people, and they're right underneath you. So what I try to help leaders understand is that as a leader, you have this incredible opportunity to actually better someone's life, to add value, to inspire people to do better and be better. And if you can get your team invested in that kind of thought, and if you can inspire others to do great things, then the rest is history. If you focus on your team, everything else will become easier. That's what I believe. So if you create an environment that excites people, and you're there for the right reasons, you're a leader for the right reasons, then you light that flame within your people, and the rest is history.
Sounds amazing. So I guess the next question would be, how do you do that?
We focus on the basics. So if the basics are in place, like I focus on the 7 basic principles of leadership, like the really, really basic stuff. Your intentions. We look at your values compared to your team's values, because many times leaders find it very frustrating because they will say things to you like, my team doesn't listen. They're always on social media. They're late. They don't have the same passion I have. But we have to drill down to what your values are as a leader. Those big moments in your life that shape the way you are personally or professionally, those things you repeat all the time, understanding your own values and your self-awareness. So we look at intentions, we look at inclusion. Does your team understand and know the game plan? So often the team doesn't actually understand why the team exists. The people don't understand why the team exists and what the team wants to achieve, or why they want to achieve what they want to achieve. What's the purpose? So involve your team from the get-go, or as soon as you can, if you haven't yet, about the game plan. Why is your team there? Then you look at things like value. Does everyone in the team understand how incredibly valuable their contribution is?
Yeah.
Things like that. So those are the couple of
Yeah, no,
basics.
that's not good. Just to stop you there. So the game plan, you said, making sure everyone's aware of the game plan. So how would you do that then?
So look, everybody who's a leader, if you're a leader of a business, or you're a founder of a company, or you're a leader of a team within a business, your team has a purpose. There's something that your team is there for. There's a reason your team exists.
I love that. Yeah.
So share that with the team, because people, if you feel like you belong to something bigger than yourself, you feel that what you do is more meaningful, because I'm part of something bigger than myself. I'm contributing for myself, but also for others. There's a bit of ownership and responsibility and accountability there.
Yeah.
So you're a leader. I mean, I'm not the biggest football fan, because you can hear I'm from South Africa and we watch rugby. But if you watched the Amazon specials, All or Nothing, the one with Jose Mourinho. Now, I'm not by any means an expert in football, but Jose Mourinho takes over Tottenham Hotspur when they're in a bit of a tricky situation, right? But you can see how the guy gets success, because from the very first moment, he shares what the plan is from here on out for the rest of the season, how every single player contributes, and he focuses on the individual, but he also shares transparency amongst everyone. That was a big, and that's one of the big things. So if I understand that and I understand my purpose and there's meaning, I would enjoy what I do. There's more satisfaction.
It's so simple. 1 second. Let's just say hi to Paul. Hi, Paul. Lovely to have you here. And everybody else, welcome to everybody else as well. If you have any comments, questions, please just put them in the chat. And what was I going to, no, I love that, what you said, because that's actually quite a really simple conversation, isn't it? To, you know, because I just always remember when I used to work, you know, in a company and the meetings, I used to dread the meetings because we would talk about absolutely nothing. And it was just, sometimes I would be like, is this actually real? Is this real? Like, this is just nonsense. So, and like you said, what you're saying is so simple, but I think it's actually really profound.
Yeah, those are the 7 principles. So, you know, there's relationship, motivation, trust, and things like that are also put into that pot. But if you do the basics world class as a leader, why I think the basics are so important is if you get those basics right, you start building those relationships with your team. They get buy-in because if I know my leader's got my back, if I know they're there for the right reasons, and we can all think about leaders who perhaps we reported to in our careers or who we report to now. It takes a couple of seconds for you to be able to identify what the real reasons are. They are leaders. Are they there for personal glory? Are they there for their bank accounts? Are they there to step on your head to get to the top? Or are they actually there to see you succeed? And if they're there to see me succeed as someone who works for a leader, then I'm going to be more inclined to do better or do more for that leader. And the holy grail of leadership, the thing that I think all leaders should be aspiring to, is discretionary efforts. Discretionary effort is when your team members go above and beyond what's asked of them at their own discretion for the benefit of the organization, but because of you, their leader, because they want to, because you're looking after their best interests, and they trust.
They feel appreciated, I guess, as well.
100%, yeah, they feel appreciated, and that's something we don't do often. You know, funny enough, you mentioned appreciation. We don't give enough appreciation, or when we do give it, we're not specific. If you are going to give appreciation as a leader, be very specific why it is. Why are you appreciative? What are you appreciative for? You know, we don't give enough appreciation, and that makes people feel special. I was dealing with a leader. Sorry.
Oh yeah, carry on. No, I was just about to say, when you say that, do you just mean with words? Like just say thank you? Is that enough?
Yes, thank you. You know, if I just recently with a leader.
Yeah, tell me.
I was talking about, I asked her if anyone in her team has made her proud this week or done anything that made her proud. And she said yes. And I said, well, did you tell her? She said no. So we went to her and she had left for the day. So we said, let's do a WhatsApp. So on the WhatsApp message, we just said, hey, you know what? I wanted to catch you before you left for the day. I just wanted to say, I saw what you did with X. It made me really proud because it means the world to us. You're a massive contributor to this team. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being here. Now that person gets the WhatsApp at night. Can you imagine how that feels? It makes them feel. Of course, they're going to be looking forward to coming back tomorrow because they feel they feel good about it. When you look forward to coming, because they found joy and satisfaction in what they do, because it has meaning, because my leaders told me how meaningful it is, I find joy and satisfaction in that. So I look forward to doing what I do, and I naturally excel at it. So for a leader, it's a no-brainer.
And how long did it take to send the message? A second?
Seconds. And we don't do enough of it, you know. And
I've never had a message like that. I mean, I'm trying to think. Have I, like, when you were saying that, I was thinking, have I ever had? I can't remember anyway. Maybe, but I cannot remember. So,
but it makes you feel good. You know, I always tell the story of I spent 18 years of my life running call centers, and
did you?
It's a great place. But anyway, I sat in South Africa. I worked in Johannesburg, and I sat in the back of this call center, and in front of me there was 150 people, and I could see the elevator or lift or whatever you call it where you're from. Lift too. There might be other people listening who call it elevators. But anyway, I could see the foyer, and there was this vice president who he wasn't from South Africa. He was from our office in Europe, but he used to come and visit us because he was also our business development manager or VP. So he used to spend time with all the South African constituents. So he would come over, but this guy had this like positivity about him, this aura, buzz. And when he came in, he treated everyone the same. He doesn't matter if you were the site leader in South Africa or the cleaner. He would treat everybody exactly the same.
Good.
And he'd greet every single person. And I promise you, Jasmine, I find myself at my desk. I might have to be going to a meeting or going to meet my wife for lunch. I would find myself not going because I didn't want to miss the interaction with him. So I would sit and wait. And then he'd come eventually after greeting everyone. He'd come. And then when he spoke to you or listened to you, he made you feel like you were the only person on the planet.
Yeah.
Make you feel so good about yourself. And then what he would do, he'd bring up something from weeks or months ago that him and I spoke about only. And he'd ask me how it went.
Something personal.
Yeah, something personal. And he'd ask me how it went. And if I said it went well, he would celebrate with me. If I said it didn't go so well, then he'd ask me, like, if you had the opportunity again, what would you do differently? What'd you learn? And because he was so passionate about our success, or at least he made you feel like he was, because I always tell this story, and I promise you, if he had asked us to go steal some horses, we would have gone with him, because we would follow him blindly because of his passion, and he was a bit more savvy.
He was kind. He was being kind. It was just being. He gave you some time, and he was being kind. Like, how long? Out of curiosity, how long did he take to talk to everybody?
Probably half an hour.
But still, that's half an hour really well spent, isn't it? Because because most people would say, oh, I haven't got time, I'm busy. But actually, spend half an hour, 2 minutes with each person or whatever it is, and you're going to get that time back tenfold, aren't you?
Exactly. And you know what's the beauty of that? And that's why I teach leaders this whole thing, how to be connected or how to become bigger than any challenge you will face. Because if you're that person, like this guy, for example, let's say him and I had to have a crucial conversation. Let's say I broke a rule and he had to be the one with a tough conversation with me. That tough conversation becomes a lot easier for him to have with me because of the relationship. Because he's been who he is. He's been himself. I'm not going to be surprised by a different tactic or maybe something unpredictable that he's going to throw my way. I know him. He knows me. He spent the time to get to know me. He celebrated my success. He's learned with me when I've made failure, when I made mistakes.
Relationship building.
Everything becomes easier. If you're that kind of leader and you've spent that half an hour that you say is so easy to do, or some people might find it difficult to do, but it's actually so worth it. If you spend that time, all the challenges you face will be smaller than you, because leaders, and one of the things leaders don't like doing is they avoid confrontation. But if you have that level of
foundation, you've built the foundation.
That confrontation is nothing.
Oh, I love that. I think that's brilliant. And it's so simple as well. And it's always the simple things. It's like, we complicate things, don't we? But actually what we're supposed to do is just right there, and it's just would come naturally if we weren't thinking about it so much.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of my favorite quotes from John Ruskin, the English writer. He says, it's far more difficult to keep it simple than to complicate it. And it is. We like to complicate stuff. I don't know why. I don't know the science behind it, why we feel the need to do it, but it's simple.
And how many times when you, I know we're going off topic, but when you actually stop and slow down, you see the answer and it's right there, and you're like, why didn't I even think about that? Like, it's right. How obvious is that? You're right. But no, I love it, Clayton. So carry on. So what made you, so you had a great leader then at your...
Yeah. When I started, I took over as call center manager for this company back in 2007, 2008. And I didn't really know much. I wouldn't say I was an accidental leader, but that often happens where if you're a good salesperson or someone who laughs a lot or makes jokes, let's elevate this guy. And you might not be ready for it. And then very often you don't get the support you need. And that happens very, very often. But for me, I was very lucky because we had just done a employee engagement survey at the company for great places to work. And out of about 10, I can't remember exactly how many there were, but this company had global call centers all around the world, Mexico, Uruguay, America, Canada. And we finished last for engagements. So there was a few eyebrows raised from our European big brother, and they sent over an operations director, an American lady. And today, 20 odd years later, or almost 20 years later, she's still my mentor and still a friend of mine. We still catch up. But all she did is she became the leader of this center kind of steady the ship because of the poor results we had in the employee engagement. And she wasn't going to be there for long. I think her contract was like 2 to 3 years max. And I just remember she didn't know me from a bar of soap, but all she did was show an interest in me. She showed an interest in me from the beginning, and she shared with me the game plan. This is what we're going to do to turn it around, and this is how important your role is. And she made me feel good about myself.
You're important. Yeah, you're important.
And basically gave me the wheels to the bus and said, "You drive this thing, Clayton." And a couple of weeks later, maybe a month or so later, I realized I was working my socks off for this call center, but I was doing it because there was this person who saw something in me they wanted to nurture and develop, or they believed in me, and I didn't want to disappoint them. And I realized she got all of this discretionary effort from me, and it cost her nothing. It cost her not a single cent. All she did was that little bit of foundation work.
Inspire you.
And I realized that kind of leadership method really resonated with my personality, and that's what I've followed since then. And I know sometimes for leaders, it feels very risky to give someone so much autonomy, because at the end of the day, if things didn't go to plan, it was her head on the block, not mine. She was the one to come and fix everything, right? So it was her reputation. So if it all went bad, so I can understand the risk from leaders, but the risk goes both ways. If I didn't come to the party with all the faith she had entrusted in me, then I would have not been a leader for very long. So it feels risky at first when you give so much, but man, massive.
I think a good leader as well, I think when you have that self-awareness yourself, you've worked on yourself, then you're probably more likely to be aware of what your employees need and how best to approach them, how best to communicate them. So she probably saw, because she had maybe worked on herself, she saw your values and what the best way to get the best out of you was, because probably for everybody it's different, but similar but different. But I just wanted to ask, actually, because I know you do have a great sense of humor. How important do you think humor is in bringing humor into the office?
I think you can be a great leader even if you don't have a great sense of humor.
Oh, but really? Really?
You obviously need it. I'm not saying you must be a clown or be someone who always. No. It helps because you don't take things so seriously. And when you blow off a little bit of steam, when people know that about you and they're comfortable with that and they're comfortable around you because they know they can make a mistake here or there and we're going to learn from it. It's not going to be the end of the world for them. Yes. And I'm not going to come down on them because of this mistake, or they feel a bit more comfortable with that whole scenario. With call center agents, for example, I mean, I've obviously seen thousands of call center agents in my time. Sales is also, when your salary, so 80% of your take-home pay is based on commission. It means you have a very unstable salary. That's a very high pressure, high stressful environment. Yeah. So if you're focusing only on sales and that's all that's in your mind, you're going to make it so tough for yourself. So what I always tell them is, let's aim for incredible conversations with people. Go home happy. Have incredible conversations.
Poor and happy.
No, because with good conversations, you'll get sales. It's like, Jasmine, for you and me, for example, right? We are going to be on calls with potential customers, you and I, people that we can help. And if I go into that call desperate for a sale, it's going to affect the entire call with that person.
Oh, yeah. And people can sense it a mile away.
Sense it. It's like you go in with an imaginary balloon and this balloon says, I need money.
Oh, no.
I know, and they can see it. And if I go in there, I'm going to say anything that they want to hear. I'm going to be totally different to just someone who wants to genuinely help you with no expectation. That conversation will be totally different. So if I'm a call center agent and I'm only aiming for incredible conversations with people, and that's what my goal is, sales will come. Sales will come because
I love it. So when you say incredible conversations, so first of all, I guess incredible conversations is a must rather than humor. Then humor's something extra.
Humor, definitely, but it's a good thing. It's a very good thing.
Yeah. And these what is an incredible conversation? I mean, do you mean like a deep conversation?
For a leader, incredible conversation is just a conversation you regularly have with someone. For a leader of people, you want to have a lot of interactions during the day, because in every single interaction as a leader, you have the opportunity to send belonging signals, to add value, to make people feel valued, to remind people of the game plan. If someone's having a bad day, you'll find out about those. So keeping your finger on the pulse with conversations is super important. They have to happen throughout the day. If you're relating that conversation back to a call center agent, they have the opportunity to brighten up someone's day. Because if you haven't been in a call center, you always think about it as a place you would not like to go to. So there's a stigma around it, right? So if you phone someone and you can brighten up their day, I know I do quote people a lot, I know that, but I love the Maya Angelou quote. They won't remember what you said, they won't remember what you did, but they'll remember how you make them feel. If you're a call center agent and you live by that, you can make a lot of people feel good about themselves. Even selling insurance, you can do that. But yeah, for a leader, it's super important to have interactions, incredible interactions throughout the day. Every time you meet with someone, like as a leader, you are being watched by every single person in your team and in other teams. They're like crocodiles. They're like just sitting there, absolutely watching your every move. So, for example, if an email comes from corporate that there's going to be a company decision being made, and I'm the leader, and the email comes through to everyone, and I roll my eyes, what message have I just sent?
Oh, no. Yeah.
Exactly. And just as as a leader, sometimes you find yourself quite busy, and a person, one of your team members will come to your desk. They might want to share something with you they're really proud of. They might want to ask you for your approval, because they do look for your approval. They look for your support. They look for your guidance. And they come to your desk and they're really excited, or perhaps a bit weary of your, they're not sure if this is a stupid question. They might be a bit anxious about that. And you don't even look up from your keyboard while you're talking to them. How valuable do you think they feel when they just sit there and you haven't even looked at them while they come to your desk? Small things like that, those interactions, make those interactions incredible. If you just closed your PC or stopped typing and sat and looked and interacted and were in the moment and applied yourself.
Yeah. It's amazing that we actually need to be told this, because it just seems so obvious, it
seems like it's common
quite
sense.
Sad, actually. It's very sad, isn't it, that this has to be taught and told.
Yeah, and it's, we as leaders, we have a lot of pressure, and there's a couple of leaders I work with now.
Yeah, maybe,
Their tasks, they got so many tasks every single day that they are so stuck in it. I don't know if you've heard this saying called a learned helplessness, is where you're so stuck in your day-to-day that you actually have this learned helplessness where you can't see the wood from the trees. You actually lose the ability to make a decision.
Definitely. That's what I was saying about taking a step back and you can see things. Yeah, definitely.
I tell leaders to escape, like hover above your team like a helicopter. Look at the team's tasks and why the team exists and the people you have in that team, and are you being efficient enough? And I love that. I always get told it's the way it is, or this is how we do things. And then I love that story. It's not a true story, obviously, but when it's Christmas dinner and the husband asks the wife, "Hey, why'd you cut the ends off the pork?" And she says, "I don't know, that's my mom always used to do it." And they phone mom and they say, "Mom, why'd you cut the ends off the pork?" And she says, "I don't know, that's how my mom always used to do it." And they phone granny and they say, "Granny, why'd you cut the ends off the pork?" And she says, "So it can fit in the pot." So we're all doing it, but we don't know why we're doing it. And sometimes leaders get into this moment of, I'm just get things done. And they forget that if they just took the time and spent that time on the team, the efficiencies, and gave themselves an opportunity to escape, they could make everything easier.
It really is about breaking patterns, breaking habits, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because most of the time, like you said, and that's, how probably somebody is as a leader, maybe that's how they live their life in other areas as well. Could be. I said that, but then at the same time, it might not be. But
it's very possible. There's a very good leadership guy on LinkedIn. I think his name is David Holmes. I'm trying to remember his surname. His name's David, but he talks about that very often. That if you're not being able to do what you want to do as a leader at the office, that can spoil over into your personal life and
that as well.
Your partner and your kids and other stuff, and it can become a lot more serious than just your team at work. Which is quite sad.
Yeah. No. So what would you, before we finish, we've got a few minutes left. So the top qualities or the most important things of a leader are?
I would say the most important thing as a leader is to focus on the basics first and build those foundations. Get those foundations solid with your team and yourself. If that's not already happened. If that's already happened, then you're going to naturally become bigger than any challenge and aspire to become I talk about magnetic leadership. If a magnetic leader is someone who people are drawn to, that person makes other people feel good about themselves. They inspire other people to do great things. We all have that person that's magnetic in our lives. It might be a friend. It's someone that you enjoy being around because they make you feel good about yourself. They might be the one guy that laughs at all your jokes, but that makes you feel good. So you like hanging out with them. So that's the same thing as a leader. You want to be that person that when you come in the morning, like I did, when I put my things down and waited for that leader to go through everybody to come and speak to me. You want to be that kind of person, because then you're going to get discretionary effort from your team. You're going to be a very good leader, but you're going to really aspire to become that person. So if your end result is I want to be a magnetic leader, then think about your mindset and your behaviors and your actions. What must you do today in every interaction you have, your foundations, to become that person and start working towards it? It's not rocket science. We spoke about it earlier. We both said it's simple. It really is stuff. That leader that I had in the call center.
You're right. But also, what responsibility do you think? Because also I do think, of course, leaders, they should be like that because it benefits them and everybody else. But also I think we have a responsibility to work on ourselves as well, not just expect the person in charge to dictate how we feel and everything. So it's a hard one, isn't it? Because they should do that if they're a leader, but then we are the leaders of our lives. We need to work on ourselves.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, a good leader will be able to recognize that. A good leader will be able to recognize what people are good at and what makes them, what they enjoy doing, and what gives them energy. So it's nice to have that kind of person who will also, I mean, I don't mean that leaders must know every personal detail of their team,
No.
But you must show an interest and you must be curious, because if you show an interest and you're curious about people, you will gain really good insights about them. A simple tool you can use as a leader in your next one-to-one meeting with your team member. It doesn't have to be an hour long. It doesn't have to have an agenda. It doesn't have to be formal. It can be 15 minutes. But in your next one-to-one, ask your team member, what are they proud of this week? Ask them, what's the one thing? Ask them what's the one thing they don't want you to ask them to do because they don't know how to do it. And what's the one thing they want you to ask them to do because they're brilliant at it, but you've never asked them. So that you
brilliant. I love these questions. Can you write some of these questions on the post afterwards?
Yeah, of course.
Just those last two. I think I love those questions.
No,
so you're right. It's simple. It's very simple. No, brilliant. Clayton, I can't believe the time's nearly gone. But is there anything else you want to say about this, and where can people find you?
No, I just wanted to say thank you very, very much, Jasmine, for having me on. I was looking forward to this big time. And I'm on LinkedIn, like any self-respecting business owner. That's where we live.
Yes, we live.
On there all day. So that's the best place to get hold of me. My email address, more contact details on my profile, Clayton Drotsky. That's the best place to get hold of me. I actually have a free e-booklet that I can PDF anybody who sends me a DM. Yeah, I can send them a PDF comment. It's on the basics of leadership.
Amazing. But no, Clayton, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I love your energy. I love your sense of humor and everything that you said. I think I really agree with it. And I think it is about energy as well, isn't it? It's all about energy, actually.
Yeah, definitely. It's a massive part. You in being a great leader, all those things basically is your energy.
Yeah, people just know. Well, okay. So thank you everybody for watching. If you have any questions, you can message Clayton or myself directly, or leave a comment on the post, and Clayton will put those two powerful questions in the post as well. Thank you so much, Clayton. And I will see you soon, and I'll see everybody else next week.
Thank you, Jasmine. Thanks.